My name is John Jung. I'm the chairman and co-founder of the Intelligent Community Forum. We're headquartered in New York City, but we have affiliates and institutes and national organizations around the world.
So as the chairman and the co-founder of the Intelligent Community Forum, what was your vision creating this forum, and how has it evolved over the years?
So the Intelligent Community Forum actually started off as a smart cities conference back in 1995, so almost 30 years ago. And the idea was to look at it from the point of view of how does technology get used in a city by citizens, but also by governments and business for the betterment of the community. So we held this conference in 1995 to try and understand what the technology of the day was making in terms of these things that we were beginning to hear as smart cities. Our conference was actually the first conference in the world to talk about smart cities. We knew that there were smart buildings. We knew that there was something called smart people. Now, why can't we have smart cities? And that was what the genesis of that was all about. Its impact was that several years later, with the help of the World Trade Centers Association and an organization called the World Teleport Association, that's the terrestrial and the satellite industry that was looking to develop high-speed broadband using satellites. But eventually that became broadband undersea cables, and that's how we evolved. And by 1999, we formed the Intelligent Community Forum.
So can you elaborate on how this concept differs and goes beyond the idea of smart?
So at that gathering in 1995, we had 1,200 people, architects, planners, government officials, businesses, scientists, engineers. And over the course of several days, we talked about this concept of smart cities. At the end, several mayors got together and said, this is important enough to take another look at it, not from the technology side, but from the people side. So we investigated that and eventually evolved not the Smart Cities Association, but an intelligent community organization. And that's when the forum was created in 1999, our first event in New Orleans.
So how has the Intelligent Community Forum impacted urban and patient planning in Canadian cities, particularly in cities like Toronto and Waterloo, where you have worked extensively, but I do understand that you worked globally and headquartered in New York?
So the Intelligent Community Forum, as a smart cities organization, tried to get established in Canada because in Toronto was where we held the first smart cities event. However, we weren't able to financially put that together, so we went to the States and we were accepted in New York City as a new organization. So we eventually became global. However, I continued to promote intelligent communities in Canada, where we have 50 cities, towns, and regions. We have about 50 in the United States and Mexico as well. And we have over 200 globally. So we have established criteria that is adopted as strategy around the world. And cities like Toronto and Waterloo had followed the smart cities and intelligent community movement and applied to be considered an intelligent community. Both of them, the city of Waterloo and the city of Toronto, made it to the top as the most intelligent community of the year, just like here in Bendong, it's been recognized as the intelligent community of the year. The process takes a whole year. It starts off as 21 cities are accepted around the world as smart cities. They're evaluated by adjudicators from universities and from many places around the world. The 21 then are looked at in greater detail, and from those 21, we pick 7 cities that we then evaluate much more deeply as intelligent communities. We go and visit them, spend several days there, meet the people, and then eventually, at the end of the year, we select one of those top 7. What happens with these communities really depends on what these communities want to do. If, for instance, they made this application so that they could learn and improve themselves, because a lot of this is about comparing best practices and learning from each other, then it could be adopted by universities, it could be included in urban planning strategies, economic development strategies, and so forth. However, if they wanted to do this so that they could hold up an award and perhaps use it to attract foreign direct investment and use it as a brand, cities do that. They will put that into their economic development and promotional material. They will use it as a vehicle for creating connections with other cities. Many of them have actually developed linkages and shared programs. For instance, Taipei and Eindhoven have shared their design week, and many other organizations will send companies to each other's regions and so forth.
So can you share your insights on the smart city challenges and the role of ICF in this initiative?
Yeah. So from the point of view of marketing, ICF markets both the smart city aspects and the intelligent community aspects under the name of intelligent communities. So while other cities might take on the nomenclature of smart city strategies or call themselves the top 1 smart city, we understand that they really mean intelligent communities. So we continue to market ourselves under the auspices of intelligent communities. However, it's also important that communities market themselves using and leveraging the recognition, whether they only got to the Smart 21 level or they got to the top 7 these are impressive recognitions that as a community they've achieved quite a bit. And they are able then to say, we are this year's Smart 21 or Top 7 or Intelligent Community of the Year. It's up to them to leverage it. We, however, will continue to market these communities for the whole year. And in many cases, because they're so interesting, we will continue to promote them. And by the way, this is all done without exchanging any dollars and cents. So we do this because we believe in it, and we think that these communities should be promoted globally.
Can you also talk about how an intelligent communities in Canada or with me balance innovation with becoming real quality life for their citizens?
Yeah. So the criteria includes broadband connectivity, knowledge workforce, innovation. It talks about inclusion and engagement as well as sustainability. The idea of creating an innovation ecosystem is fundamental as part of the Intelligent Community Program. The effort that communities make in achieving not only the broadband connection, which really reflects the smart city aspects, the measurement of data and the analysis of that data for informed decision making. And what they create basically is then convenience and efficiency in the city. Those are the smart city aspects. Where it then makes much more sense is for them to create an innovation ecosystem. That innovation ecosystem is a result of a high-speed broadband environment, which we call a broadband economy. And been adding the knowledge workforce, the talent that's available in the community or is achieved in the community. And once you have smart cities, smart infrastructure, and you have smart people, you can create that innovation ecosystem. And that's where the prosperity happens. Once you have that prosperity, you need to share it across the entire community. And therefore, that's when we talk about inclusion and citizen engagement. The citizens have to be part of this. And finally, we focus on sustainability. And that's the end goal, to create sustainable, high quality of life. And those are the things that attract investment, but also retain that investment and the people who are part of it.
So how do you envision the role of innovation ecosystems in fostering high quality employment and meeting social needs in the community?
Well, you have to create that high quality of life in order to sustain that activity that you want to keep in your community. The idea of creating the talented workforce takes a lot of effort. The investment of infrastructure takes a lot in a community to create. Good urban planning, good economic development, all of those things are not only expensive, but they take a lot of effort for a community to create that ecosystem that I referred to earlier. Without understanding where it's going to attract the investment, to attract and retain the talent, all of this is meaningless. So it's very important that when you have a strategy, you develop the strategy, but you also don't just put that strategy on the shelf, you actually have to implement it. In order to implement it, you have to have the leadership and the collaboration in the community to make it happen. And that is the essential part, to see the job through to the end.
So what strategies are intelligent communities in Canada, Brazil, and deployed to expand access to digital skills and technology, ensuring inclusivity?
You say that again.
What strategies are intelligent communities employing in effort to expand access to digital skills and technology, ensuring inclusivity?
Well, can I use Bendong as an example? Here, a strategy of evolving the city and region from an agrarian society 25 or so years ago to traditional industries resulted in higher employment and higher incomes, but not enough to actually create the quality of life that they were trying to seek. So what they did was they employed strategies that worked elsewhere, and they found a strategy that a city called Eindhoven in the Netherlands employed, and that was to bring together what they call triple helix effect of bringing government, business, and academia together, and ensuring that the strategy of creating a workforce that was looking to the future of Industry 4.0, or looking at industries that had said, if you had this kind of talent in the community, we will come. And as a result, they deployed the strategic advancement of innovation in the workforce through the universities and developed a kind of workforce that was responsive to the future of work in this area. And so others are doing this around the world as well. They might not have the full triple helix approach. They might do public-private partnerships. However, some are actually going much further. They're employing what one would call a quadruple helix, where it's government, business, academia, and local citizens. Because you have to have the citizen commitment to see it through as well. And so I think that kind of strategy, I think, is very useful. In fact, they're deploying it here in this community.
So how has the Italian community model influenced countries and driven development?
Yeah. So the intelligent community movement has been involving hundreds of cities. We've ranked over 200 as Smart 21 top 7 in intelligent communities of the year. However, there are many other cities, aspiring communities, that have not quite made it yet. And a lot of them are small communities in developing countries or in developed countries, but they haven't got the resources. And as a result, instead, what they've done is they've come to us and said, we need training, or we need consulting, or we need introductions, or we need to be able to travel the world and get some best practices from other sources. So we have been able to help them in that way. We're not the only organization out there doing this. We were the first, but there are many others. They call themselves smart cities or smart community or intelligent city organization, and they're creating opportunities through conferences, publications, training, certification, and so forth. We do that as well. We provide certification of these cities so that cities can go and market themselves. However, many of the cities who aspire to become intelligent communities, sometimes this is the first time that they'll invest in quality of life improvements. So it's interesting to see small towns saying, we would like to have this recognition. And as a result, what they've done is they've found where the gaps are, and they start to invest in them. For instance, in Canada, there's a region called the Durham region outside of Toronto. They discovered as part of this process that they're deficient in broadband throughout their region. Because they've been involved with us and they want the recognition, they've put the resources to make that happen. Would they have done that otherwise? We don't know. But I think it's important that people will take the effort to create better environments as a result.
So what is your vision for the future of Italian communities, and how do you see them evolve over the next decade?
Yeah. So we see the intelligent community movement growing and becoming part of every country around the world. Currently, we are on every continent. We're not in all places, but we are pretty extensive in every region of the world at this point. The way we're doing it is we're evolving it through institutes where at the local level, at the domestic level, they're able to communicate what they do better than, say, us from New York. We have institutes in places like in Taiwan. It would be nice to have one here in Vietnam so that they can promote what intelligent communities and smart cities is all about in the rest of Vietnam. We have them in Canada, the United States. We're developing them in Europe. We also have a great network. Many people that are involved here in this community, but in Taiwan, we have, in that little island, we have 15 cities that have qualified, and many, many more since we got involved with them in 2005. But it takes local interest. We don't go and knock on the door. They come to us, and they finally say, we would like this certification, or we would like this recognition. And we say, fine, it doesn't cost you anything to do that, but we'll take you in, we'll evaluate it, and we'll let you know where you land. Many of them are surprised that they actually land up quite high. Or if there's a gap, they fill it. That's actually bonus points. People see that they have taken the effort and want to do this for their citizens and for their community.
So as you're in Vietnam, what work have you done in?
Well, here in Vietnam, we've been working with the community since 2016. ICF has not been actively engaged. Instead, one of our communities Eindhoven from the Netherlands has worked very closely to develop what they call the Navigator Strategy of 2016. It's because of that strategy, which included the triple helix approach that I talked about earlier, and other activities, including all of our factors embedded in that strategy. And as a result, in 2021, they took the measurement and found that as a result, they have the highest income of any of the communities in Vietnam as a result. They've achieved a number of universities accepting and endorsing the concept of an innovation and research targeted environment. The city has developed with confidence the level of risk taking to create the kind of environment you see here. So there have been many improvements that Binh Dong has undertaken. Binh Dong becomes a model for the rest of Vietnam. And I think that's the way it works in many other areas. It starts small, it builds, and then it becomes a model for the local community, and then maybe the province or state, and then maybe the country as a whole.